there's the clean and simple card. Now, I will tell you for this card, I used Dragonfly Garden, and I used this image, this dragonfly, and the wings, and then my sentiment came from the other one, Wishing You All the Best, which is Garden Wishes. They're actually two separate bundles. This one has a punch, and this one has dies. But I went with both of them to use, and that's the one we're going to get started with. So let me move this up out of the way, and you're going to start with your card base. Clean and simple is what this one will be. All right, and I'm going to take that tall flower image and I'm going to ink it up with Misty Moonlight. Now, I use Misty Moonlight and Night of Navy with this card. All right, so get my ink on here, set it aside, and then I'm going to turn it sideways because I get a better impression if I turn it sideways, especially on the long stamps, because then I can press in the middle. All right, so there's my flowers. Then I'm going to take that dragonfly, and I'm going to stamp it in Night of Navy. Thanks, Carol. I appreciate your sharing it. All right, and I'm going to stamp it like it's heading toward those flowers, like so. All right. Then I used this image, which actually colors or gives it an artistic look for the wings, and I used Misty Moonlight for this. All right, and I'm going to stamp that one there. I'm going to go over here and stamp that one. Now, it's not a mirror image, so that's why you get the look you get, but I kind of like that. And then I'm going to stamp my sentiment down here at the bottom, and I'm going to open this because it doesn't lay flat, and you'll get a smudge if you don't. All right, so there's the clean and simple card. Now, you can very easily add Wink of Stella to the wings for a little bit of glitter, but I didn't. I wanted it clean and simple. So that's the clean and simple version, ready to go and to be mailed. And I also stamped the envelope and the inside of the card using those 12 flowers. And what I did was I stamped this, and then without re-inking, I'll show you right here, I went inside and stamped it again, so I get a lighter impression, and that way you can write on top if you need to. So there's the clean and simple card. All right, now I had a little bit more time and I wanted to step it up and use some of my other supplies, so I did this one. So I took this same idea and put it on a panel and then put it on a Night of Navy card. All right, so let me show you how I did that one. All right. So I'm going to take my piece of cardstock, and I'm going to take my Misty Moonlight, and thanks, Linda. I'm going to ink this up just like I did for all the others. And I'm going to add this to the side. All right, so I have that. That gets added to a Night of Navy card base. Hey, Tammy. Oh, thanks, Marty. And I'm going to just glue this on there. gave it a few seconds to dry because you want to make sure it's good and dry before you flip it over, or you'll have ink on your mat and you will have a mess. I've done it many a time where it's like, where'd that smudge come from? And it's ink on my mat. All right, so I'm going to open this up. Remember, if you have trouble getting it on the front, open your card base up and look at it, and then you know exactly where to put the front. All right, so I've got that. All right, I did my butterfly. I stamped it Night of Navy, but then what I did was I took Misty Moonlight, put it on a block, and used water and painted the wings in rather than use the image that they have. You can easily do the image that they have, but I wanted to add some watercolor to it just to give it a little bit more interest. All right, and then this, I'm going to add a dimension to the back. And take my back off. All right. And then I'm going to add him up at the top, going towards those flowers again. For my sentiment, thanks Marty, I took the same sentiment and I stamped it on a scrap with Misty Moonlight, and then I took and punched it out using the, sorry about that, the tailored tag punch. And I forgot to show you, there's the punch for the Dragonfly. I did cut my paper down so I didn't cut that little one out at the same time, so I didn't waste paper. Hey Trudy, hey Sharon, but there's the punches that I used. And then I took a piece of Night of Navy and I did the same thing, same punch, and now I'm going to cut that in half to add a little bit of interest to my sentiment. And to do that, you want a long pair of scissors, and you put this point and this point on the cutting blades. Let me show you what I've done, like so. And a one quick snip. Oh, you're fine, Sharon. And that way you get your two pieces. I then took a little glue. I'm going to add it here because I don't want to add it too far because it'll hang over. And this one, and I used a different way on the next one. I then added it like so. Making this side and this side even. All right, and then I'm going to do the same thing down here with this. I'm just going to stick it down, and then if I have to adjust it, I can. That's why the glue is good. So you get that image, which I think is a great way to add some interest to your, oh, Sharon, you're fine, to your sentiments. I didn't want to, I wanted it different. If I stamped it on there, I was like, oh no, it needs a little bit more. So now this goes on with dimensionals, pop dots, whatever you guys call them. I do use the Stampin' Up! Dimensionals because I like them. They are the perfect size, and this one, as you can see, isn't straight by that edge, but it's fine. It's not Hallmark, and that's what I tell everybody. It's not Hallmark, people. If you want everybody's card to look exactly alike, then go to Hallmark. But who doesn't love a handmade card? Because a handmade card has hugs and love. Hey, Marcia. Hey, Peggy, you made it in. Hope the satellite works. All right, so then you add that down here. And I did the same thing on the inside. I have that one over here, so I'll go ahead and add it like so. I try to do as much ahead of time. And guys, I don't know if you know this or not, but tomorrow is the last day to register for my sketch of the month. So if you like my ideas, make sure you check out my sketch of the month and sign up. You get a PDF every week. Hey, Michelle. And ideas to use your own supplies. So I give you a layout, all the cutting dimensions and everything else for you to create great cards. Now I don't know about you, but I have a ton of these gems left over they were from the Snowflake set in the holiday catalog. So I decided to use them. I use my leftover stuff all the time. I added a little gem there, and then I added a few more sprinkled around the card just for some interest. And work in odd numbers, 1, 2, 3. Hey Carol, hey Nancy. Yes, Marcia, I do use an ATG gun for my personal, hey Betty Ann, personal crafting, but I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and Stampin' Up! Frowns on, well, I could lose my demonstratorship if I showed, hi Jenny, things that we carry glue and seal and things like that. Well, I'll tell you, I've used the seal. I had trouble with it. I said forget it. So I went back to my glue, and if I'm doing my own personal, I do use the ATG gun. So I do use it. So there's our stepped up version. And are you ready to see the wow version? I love it. Hi, Kathy. There it is. And you're thinking, well, that's not too much. Well, it's hard to see, but there's embossing on this background piece. So let's see how we did that one. All right, I started with the panel of Very Vanilla. Hey, Liz. I stamped the flowers down the side, and then I used Beauty Abounds and these little bokeh dots, and I stamped them on here in a random pattern. I will tell you, I used Night of Navy, and what I did was I inked it up, stamped it on scrap paper, and then went on here because I wanted it lighter. Here's my scrap paper. That would have been too dark, and I just want a light piece behind it. Oh, thanks, Betty Ann. Oh, thanks, Marty. So there's our stepped up piece. And after I had it all stamped, I ran it through the embossing folder with the Tasteful Textile, hey Marianne, embossing folder. And that gave me this. Can you see? I'm trying to hold it. I have to wait for it there it goes. So you can see the embossing on the background. So it gives it a little bit of texture. All right, now I'm going to add that to my Night of Navy card base. All right. And since this is embossed, I use double-sided tape. Hi, Rita. Oh, thanks, Joan. On the back. And the reason being is when you emboss something, it has mountains and valleys. All right? So when you put glue or anything else down on it, it grabs the mountains but sinks in the valleys. And what happens is when you put it on your card base, the mountains grab hold, but there may not be enough for it to hold it in place, and your piece falls apart. By using the double-sided tape, even if there is no mountain for it to grab on, it's over top of a valley, the tape still grabs that card base and holds it in place. Hey, Jan. All right, and then make sure you burnish your ends. And then I use my pokey tool to pull off the backs. Now, Peggy, I don't know if she's still on here or not, but she asked about this because she struggles with putting on gems and taking backs off and all. This is a pokey tool from Stampin' Up! Years ago, and I mean years ago. They no longer sell it this way. What they sell is a take your pick tool. And one end, let me see, where's my piece? One end has, it looks like this, but the other end is this. And this is, I've had this for years too. It goes with my Cameo. One end has, and the ends come off like so. You can change them out on the take your pick tool. Oh. One end has putty to it, and you can use it to hold pieces of paper to glue it down, to pick up gems, things like that to put on your card. And then the other end, you get one of these that has the pokey tool. And you can also get another one that has a brush. Oh, Joan, I've called it a pokey tool for years. It has a brush so that if you have intricate dies, you can take and put it down on a piece of foam and get all the little pieces out. Okay, again, I am going to open this up, and I'm going to put this down onto the front. Doing it this way, I never put my paper on wrong or upside down. I've just been doing that for quite a while. All right. I again stamped the inside, so I'm going to add this to the inside. And you don't have to use glue if you have an ATG gun, if you have snail, whatever you use that. All right. There we go. All right, so now I've got my card to that point. I'm going to add my Dragonfly, and I did it the same way. I added, hey, Lucy. Yeah, Peggy, I had told you about that one, but I wanted you to give you the option because I didn't know if you wanted just this, but having the putty on the other end is good. I did this the same way. I stamped it in navy, used my Misty Moonlight onto a block, and when I do it on a block, I use like one of these little ones, and I just stamp it in my ink pad and pull it from there using my aqua painter. All right, and then did the wings. And then I'm going to take, and again, if you want some more bling than what is here, or you want those wings to look iridescent like a real dragonfly, then use your Wing of Stella. Let me see. Let me grab one real quick. Of course, this will probably be one that has nothing in it, just to give you an idea. This one's almost empty. I have several that I refill with alcohol. This will help blend your ink also. If your ink isn't blending, you could very easily just pick up the ink with this and use it. So I added some Wing of Stella. So there you go. I don't know if you can see the iridescent to it. I can't tell. But there's my Dragonfly. And then I always pull up my wings. It just gives it a little bit more interest, and it looks like it's in flight. And then remember, we're going to do the same thing. Hey, Denise. Hey, Gina. Oh, thanks, Carol. Hey, Bev. Oh, okay. Remember, stick the point, the tip, the points here and here in your scissors. One quick cut. It's best if you use long scissors for that. All right, and then I'm going to add some glue to the back of this so I can glue it down. And I did this one differently. What I did with this was I kept this end even with the edge and just put a piece up here just to show you another way to use this punch and to get some interest in your stamps. So there's that one. Oh, I know, Barb. I love the wow. And see, that's not on crooked, so I may, well, it could be me. I may not have cut it straight. All right, and then I'm going to take and I'm going to add my dimensionals here, here, and I cut mine in half, and the reason being is I can put a lot more on here. You don't have to cut them in half. You can put one here, here, and here, but you've used 4, whereas I've used 1, 2.5. So it just kind of extends your supplies a little bit. I do too, Linda, and I don't use it very often. So I have to remember to use it more. All right, I'm going to take my backs off, and that's when this pokey tool is good. All right, and then I'm going to take and add this down here, like so. Then I'm going to pull back in these gems that I have left, and I use the darker one. I didn't think the lighter one would have shown up as well, so I used that dark one. I don't know what color the dark one is, but that's the one I chose to use. All right, and I'm going to add another one there, and another one down here, like so. All right, so there's the stepped up version. So I went from clean and simple to stepped up to a wow card. All same layout, all the same colors, just to show you how you can extend and use your supplies.